Hello, everyone, and welcome into the Butt Fumble Sports Daily Show. It is so wonderful to have you with us on this Saturday morning. If you haven't started your day off in the right way, I hope now is getting you off on the right foot. We're going to talk a lot of sports today. College basketball, one of the best Saturdays that we've had so far this college basketball season. We obviously have the NBA putting up some games as well. Not a massive slate, but some good games as well. And, of course, the NHL All-Star Game, which we'll touch on a little bit. We'll talk about the skills challenge last night. I don't know if I'd be advising anyone to bet on puck today, but we do have the All-Star Game this afternoon. And of course, we are closing in about 8 days away from the Super Bowl. Kansas City Chiefs, San Francisco 49ers. So excited to talk some more football with you. No matter the sport, no matter where you are, welcome in. Butt Fumble Sports is so excited to have you with us today. Could not be a better day to talk sports with you guys. If you guys have questions, comments, if there is a topic you want us to rant about, put it in the comments section, whether you're watching on TikTok, YouTube, Twitch, or Kick. We are live across all these platforms every single day, Monday through Friday at 5 p.m., Saturday and Sunday at 12 p.m. Welcome into the show, everybody. We will be giving out picks every 2,000 likes. So if you want some more free picks for today's action, make sure you tap that screen on TikTok. 2,000 likes, we'll give out some picks. Who you got for the Super Bowl? This is what I've been saying. I've been pretty consistent on this so far. I like the under 50.5 points. I think the defenses show out a little bit. I think the Kansas City Chiefs plus 4.5 is the bet I would go with most confidence. I'm very, very nervous about how many people are on the side of the Chiefs. Feels very loaded on Kansas City side. Has me a little worried. Arctic Tiger, thoughts on the Chicago Bulls today? The Chicago Bulls are a really interesting case. They got that win last night. They play the Sacramento Kings today. Both teams coming off short rest. Kings, obviously, they got the win yesterday against the Pacers. I'm a little bit curious about that game. Probably one that I'm going to end up avoiding. If there is any direction I would go in, it probably would be on the side of the Bulls money line. And if so, the Bulls on the spread. Bulls minus 1.5 if I had to go anywhere, but I'm not crazy about it. Uncle Steven, how about this? When we get to 1,000 likes, we'll give out a player prop bet. Uncle Steven, I don't want to leave you waiting too long, so we'll give out our first NBA player prop bet of the day at 1,000 likes. At 2,000 likes, you'll get a game pick. If there's a topic you want to talk about, hit us up live on the show. We love talking to you guys, so if you want to come on as a guest, chew the fat with us, ask your questions, or just get into some conversation, make sure you hit us up all about it. Uncle Steven driving us up to 1,000. Can't wait to give out that pick. Why feel uncomfortable? The Pats won many too. This next dynasty, I don't want them to win, but okay, the reason I'm a little bit nervous is so many people are on the side of Kansas City. I tend to fade the public. I don't like being on the side of the public. The problem is almost every trend we've come across favors Kansas City. I don't care if you're looking at the moon, the stars, or the players on the field. Almost every trend favors Kansas City. That's why I like them to cover a 4.5 point spread. But I really don't like being on the side of the public. Just makes me a little bit nervous. So that's the reason I feel that way. The public was on the side of New England, but that didn't always work out. Let's make sure we don't forget the Patriots lost 3 Super Bowls, so I don't want to make it sound like the public was always on the Patriots and it ended up working out. There were times it didn't, so I don't want to use the Patriots as a barometer for how we should bet. In fact, in the history of betting on the Super Bowl, this goes back decades, the sports books have only lost twice. The 1995 Super Bowl between the 49ers and the Chargers, and the 2007 Super Bowl between the Patriots and the Giants. Those are the only 2 Super Bowls in which Vegas lost money. Vegas lost on the bets. So Vegas, oftentimes, you think that they're only going to give out so many good opportunities. Sometimes they're setting traps for you. Okay, we've hit 1,000 likes. I'm going to give out our first player prop bet of the day. This is a shout out to Uncle Steven. Our first player prop bet for this Saturday is going to be Clint Capella over half a block. Clint Capella over half a block. I'm getting that at about minus 115, minus 119. The reason I like this, and I actually posted it up on my Instagram account, Clint Capella has not gone 2 games this season without recording a block. Last night, the Hawks beat the Suns. He didn't get a block last night. So this would be the first time in the entire 2023 season that he would record 0 blocks 2 days in a row. I'm going to ride the trend. I think Clint Capella gets that block today. Appreciate you guys being with us. Hope you guys are loving the show. Make sure you hit that follow button. Make sure you're subscribing. And of course, if you want every bet that I make every single day, make sure you DM me on Instagram. Butt Fumble Sports on Instagram. We give out picks every single day. I don't know why it's doing this. I gotta sign. So stupid. I gotta sign in. Hold on one second. I don't know why it just did this. Gotta put in my login. There we go. And now we're back. Great. Wonderful. Okay. So, yeah, Vegas is a joke. Is Vegas a joke, Craig? I don't feel like it is. I feel like Vegas has built a city out of a desert based on winning bets. But, Dell, we got to hit 2,000 likes for us to give out our next NBA game pick. So, our first NBA game pick will come up when we get to 2,000 likes. The first pick we gave out was a player prop bet. That was Clint Capella over half a block. I also have a ton of college basketball game picks to give out. So, if any of you guys want those, every time, how about this? Every time we hit 1,000 likes, we'll give out a pick, whether a player prop bet, game pick, or a college basketball pick. So 2,000 likes to get our next pick up on the board. If any of you guys have a topic you want to rant about or you want to hear me rant about, feel free to put it in the comments section. If any of you guys need help with your sports bets, need some help with your research, we're here for that as well. That's what we do here. We just love talking sports with real sports fans just like you at home. We just hit 2,000 likes, so let's give out our first NBA game pick of the day. First NBA game pick. And we are going to go with... I'm going to go Cavaliers will make the first one. Cavaliers on the money line is the first game pick we're giving out. Arctic Tiger, you're getting ahead of me right there. We'll talk Knicks in a little bit, but I do like the Cleveland Cavaliers on the money line. Our first NBA game pick I'm giving out. At 3,000 likes, we'll give out our first college basketball pick of the day. That way you guys know what's coming up. So at 3,000 likes, college basketball pick. At 4,000 likes, an NBA pick. Arctic Tiger is asking about Josh Hart over 9 rebounds. Boy, that seems really high to me. Let's go take a look at it, though. Maybe I'm missing something. Josh Hart, we're going to go over and we're going to use Outlier. Outlier is the sports research website, an app that we use every single day to do our research. Unbelievable. It's set at 9.5. I would say the implied probability is very heavy on the under. 58% towards the under, 47% towards the over. I'll look at the over just to entertain you on it. But frankly, over the last 20 games, he's only gone over 9.5 7 times. Head-to-head against the Lakers, he's gone 0 for 2 on this. I would rather have Josh Hart under 9.5 rebounds than Josh Hart over 9.5 rebounds. The only thing I do want to check is without Julius Randle. With Julius Randle out, this has been a much better trend. He has cashed on this in 5 of the last 7 games. So if you take that as any indication, maybe that puts you a little bit more in favor of doing it. But either I wouldn't bet it or I'd take the under. I just don't want to bet Josh Hart rebounds if it's at double digits. That seems a little aggressive to me. David, I do like Texas plus 5.5. In fact, I'm going to put that up on my big board. Texas Longhorns going up against TCU. On this day, I am not horns down. I'm horns up. I am taking Texas plus 5. David, I like that call. Good call. In fact, let me show it to you really quick. We're going to jump over to Outlier on their game picks. I want to show you where the public is coming down on that game between Texas and TCU. That's one thing we really like to do here. We like to look at line movement. We like to look at how the public is betting this game. For the record, TCU is the favorite when it comes to both percentage of bets and money to win the game. But when it comes to the spread, the other side is true. Texas is the favorite when it comes to the spread. 76% of all tickets bet have been on Texas. 79% of the money has been placed on Texas. It's horns up for me today. I'm taking the Texas Longhorns. This does give me the rare opportunity, though, to talk about Texas and this whole horns up, horns down bullshit. I think Texas, look, I almost went to UT. I think really highly of the school. Great athletics, really passionate alumni base. Why the hell do you have a problem with people doing this? If the world was based on that and we were so sensitive, the world would not be as fun a place. Texas, why don't you grow a pair? And I'm not just talking horns. Why don't you grow a pair and just let it go? What do you care if TCU does a horns down symbol? What do you care if TCU has horns down across their shirt? Go kick some ass, go get a win, and then no one will be doing the horns down symbol. I don't understand why Texas and their entire fan base is so sensitive to this. Frankly, they need to get over it. When you win, people shut up. I don't hear Yankee fans chanting 1918 to Red Sox fans anymore. You can put taunting to bed. All you got to do is win. Uncle Steven, is Joel Embiid still out? Yes, he is. Joel Embiid probably will be out a couple of games. Joel Embiid expected to be out for today's action. He has a torn meniscus, so I don't expect him back anytime soon. Really quick, just to confirm it, Joel Embiid is out with the left knee. So you can see it up on your screen if you're watching on YouTube, Twitch, or Kick. We are going to give out another pick at 3,000 likes. So if you guys want another pick, hit us up. 3,000 likes will be our next one. 90 pounds? I don't know, buddy. Sorry. Arctic Tiger, have Draymond Green over a block. Arctic Tiger, you hit the nail right on the head. You're probably looking at my bets over on the SHARPZ app. I like Draymond Green over half a block as well. I'll even give you a player prop bet involving Draymond Green just to have some fun. I took Draymond Green over 6.5 points. Really good play, actually. Let me show it to you really quick. This is Draymond Green. We're going to show you over 6.5 points if you're watching on YouTube, Twitch, or Kick. Specifically, looking at those points. We don't want points assists, we want points. Okay, the reason I like this so much against the power forward position, the Atlanta Hawks are 30th in the league in points allowed to the power forward position, one of the worst teams in the NBA. Draymond Green has gone over 6.5 points very consistently, 8 out of his last 10 games. If I move that out to the last 20 games, 15 of the last 20, Draymond Green has gotten to at least 7 points. Now, I know this is a minus 235 bet, so what I would recommend is Draymond Green over 6.5 points. Combine it with the Golden State Warriors to cover. Golden State is an underdog in this game, so maybe take Golden State +7, +6.5, and Draymond to get 7 points. You get back to even money. I think that's a really strong same-game parlay for those out there. David, do I like Clemson on the money line? Probably, but I actually went the other way when it came to the cover. Let's jump on over and let's look at Clemson really quick. Loaded day of college basketball for all those college basketball fans who have been waiting through the football months for all the attention to shift back to ball. We are finally in that time of the year. Virginia will be at Clemson today. Big ACC matchup. Clemson is the favorite by a 4-point spread. Here's the problem. They have a terrible history against UVA. UVA has really owned them over the last few years. David Mull, if I were going to go in any direction, I would take UVA to cover. I took UVA at +7.5. Right now, you could get UVA +7.5 at -182. I'll put that one up on my board as well, just so you guys can see it. That's Virginia +7.5. Again, a really strong bet. Given how these two teams play, probably a close game anyways. So, David, I'm going UVA to cover on that one, buddy. Appreciate the kind words. Hope you guys are enjoying the show. Might as well do Draymond points, rebounds, and assists. AZ Drex, let's take a look at that because I want to make sure what we're saying is accurate. I don't want to get ahead of ourselves. So let's look at Draymond Green, points, rebounds, and assists. Now, it's set right now at 23.5. If we look at the power forward, you're on to something exactly right. Not only is Atlanta bad at covering the power forward position in terms of points allowed, they're 29th in rebounds allowed, 26th in assists allowed. I actually think that AZ Drex absolutely hit the nail on the head. I don't like it at the 23.5, but at 19.5, that's a really strong play. That's cashed 8 out of the last 10 games. Over the last 20 games, it's cashed 14 times. Against the Hawks, over 19.5 is cashed both times over the last 2 meetings. So frankly, I'll put this one up on my board as well. I put the asterisk next to it because it isn't one that I had prior to the show. But Draymond Green over 19.5 points plus rebounds plus assists. Again, that's at 19.5 points. You would get that right now at minus 280. I know a lot of you guys would go minus 280. I don't want to take that bet. That's fine. Then make it a same game parlay. Draymond over 19.5 points, rebounds, and assists with, let's say, the Golden State Warriors to cover again at like a +6, +7, +7.5. Something that's very conservative on the cover, but also gives Draymond the chance to make those even odds. Really like that idea. Uncle Steven, would you take him at 23.5 in prize picks? Probably. I know prize picks are a bit more rigid. It is a higher risk there. I'm letting you know what I would take. I am team cashing tickets. I tend to take a bit more conservative or safer bets because I want to cash as many tickets as I can. I'll put them in parlays or round robins. But Uncle Steven, if you're in a prize pick situation, I'd be okay with it. Additionally, maybe you want to check him out for a rival fantasy challenge. I mention this to you guys every single day. Draymond Green, you could take him or Tobias Harris. Maybe you want to skip that one. Tobias Harris might get a lot of opportunities in his matchup against the Knicks. Draymond Green or Nicholas Claxton, interesting one. Let's just take Draymond Green. We'll throw a buck on it. So if you guys are looking for other ways to take the research that you've been doing and put it into a bet or put it into an opportunity to cash some money, look at Rival Fantasy. They have a challenge where you pick between two players, which one you like more. You place the bet. Super easy. I've done really well with it, so highly recommend Rival Fantasy challenges to all you guys out there. Who do we got winning today? Anthony, if you want to see all of my winners, just DM me on Instagram. I give away all of my picks for free on the SHARPZ app. Sharp is a social media app for sports bettors. Every time I place a bet, it automatically shows up there. With that said, if you guys just want to wait for individual picks to come out, I give those out during the show. The next pick we're going to give out is at 4,000 likes, everybody. 4,000 likes, I'm going to give out another pick. I'll actually throw another college basketball pick on the board. It might have already tipped off. I did take Indiana on the money line. Go Hoosiers. Indiana on the money line. I'll give you another college basketball bet just to say thank you for watching the show. Marquette on the money line. So I've given out 4 college basketball bets so far. Texas +5, Virginia +7.5, Indiana on the money line, and Marquette on the money line. That's what we've got so far today. 4,000 likes, our next pick comes. David Mull, you like Northwestern or Minnesota today? I'm going right now with Minnesota to cover. I like Minnesota to cover in the barn. We'll show that one up on our screen as well. Just to show you one of the things I cared most about this. It had to do with the public money coming down on it. I got to make sure I know when that game's being played. So many college basketball games today. Easy to lose track of some of them. What time's that game kicking off, David? Tipping off, David? It's not going to be that late. I'm starting too late. I'm scrolling to try and find it right now so I can show you where the public money has come down. It clearly is the best Saturday of the college basketball season. Bunch of ranked matchups, but also just a lot of games in general. So you can tell we've turned the page from January into February. We're closing in on March. So college basketball in full swing. Where is this Minnesota game? Give me one quick second. Minnesota. Where are we here? Man, is that an earlier game? David, when's that game? 1 p.m.? Okay, gotcha. So it is earlier. Thank you. So 1 p.m. tip-off for Minnesota. Man, there's so many games today. I'm literally scrolling through so many to try to find it. I guess it's not at... are you sure it's at 1 p.m.? Is it 1 p.m. Eastern? No, it's at 2 p.m. Eastern, so clearly you're in a central time zone. Anyways, the public money, here's what I would say. Minnesota is getting both the percentage of tickets and a larger percentage of money on the money line. Really important to note. A larger percentage of the bets on that game when it comes to the spread are on Northwestern. So overall, there are more bets being placed on Northwestern to cover the spread. However, the money is coming down on Minnesota. We talked about this yesterday's show. When we see that disparity where the total number of tickets are going in one direction, but the money's going in the other, follow the money. Don't follow the number of tickets. I like Minnesota to cover. I'd probably take it at an alternative spot to +1. That's a little snug for me. Take them at +5.5 and then have them in a parlay. So I'll take Minnesota plus 5.5, and then put it in a parlay with something else, something that you feel pretty safe about. That's how I would play that one. Okay, Callum, what do you think about Cavaliers? Check, I like the Cavaliers. What do you think about the Hawks today? Check, I actually like the Hawks on the money line today. 76ers parlay. Check, I like that one as well. I'll put those picks up on the board so you guys can see them. I am taking Hawks on the money line, but I'm also taking the Warriors at plus 6.5, so I'm on both sides of that one. And as for that 76ers game, yes, sir, despite not having Joel Embiid, I do think the 76ers get the win today. So there you go, Callum. Diego's asking about Spencer Dinwiddie over 11.5 points. Let's go do our research for Diego to see if we can find a good Spencer Dinwiddie line when it comes to his point total. Appreciate you guys being with us. Spencer Dinwiddie's point total is set at 11.5. How has it been in terms of a trend? First of all, the matchup that they have against the 76ers is not favorable. The 76ers are the 9th best defense against point guards when it comes to points allowed, so I don't like the matchup to begin with. It has been a decent trend, though, over the last, let's say, 8 games. This is cashed in it's cashed in 5 out of the last 8. That's okay. On the road, 3 straight games this is cashed. Historically, though, against the 76ers, ooh, really good trend. Spencer Dinwiddie has gone over 11.5 points in 4 straight games against the 76ers. If we look at it on the road, 2 for 2 in that regard. You guys know I'll probably move this line. You can get it at 11.5 at minus 102. Good odds there. But really, I take this at over 9.5. Spencer Dinwiddie over 9.5. That feels like a really good play. I'll put that one up on my board with an asterisk there. Spencer Dinwiddie over 9.5 points. Good find, good odds. Really like what I'm seeing from you, Diego. Good job doing your research today. Anthony, who do you think is winning out? Knicks, Bulls, Bucks. I like all 3 on the money line, so you're actually hitting right where I think things are going to go today. Knicks is going to be my SHARPZ play of the day, everybody. Knicks on the money line is my SHARPZ play of the day. That's my favorite bet of the day. Regardless of the sport, regardless of the type of bet, the Lakers simply haven't been very good as a road dog, winning twice in a row. They obviously won their last game against the Celtics. Whether they have Anthony Davis and LeBron in the lineup or not, I like the Knicks to continue their winning streak. And by the way, I'm in New York City right now. The city is electric. There is no doubt there is a big basketball game here today. You can just feel it in the streets. You can feel it in the subway. It is pulsating through this city. Everyone is excited about the Knicks. With the Lakers coming to town, I think that building is going to be rocking. I think the Knicks are not going to take the Lakers lightly because of how they performed against the Celtics. I really like the Knicks on the money line. Again, that is my SHARPZ play of the day, my favorite bet of the day, regardless of the sport and regardless of the type of bet. If you want every bet I make every day and you don't want to wait around for me to give them out individually, DM me on Instagram. ButtFumble Sports is the name of my company and the name of my Instagram account. DM me there. I'll give you all of my picks for free. Kevin Miller, Bulls money line, Knicks -4 parlay. Feels like a good bet, Kevin. I would not have too big a problem with it, actually. Kevin Miller, Knicks -4. Yep. Jorge, LeBron today, 32 points and rebounds. I'm almost with you. I took LeBron James over 19.5 points, and I put it into a couple of parlays, so I will say that from the start. I do like LeBron James over 19.5 points. Feels like a very safe bet. Currently, the line is set at 24.5. Like I said, I bought it down to 19.5. You could get that at -285 on DraftKings, -320 on FanDuel. For those who are like, I'm not attracted by that, maybe throw it into a same-game parlay. But your question was specifically about points plus rebounds. Here's the reason I like this. The Knicks against the small forward position, 23rd in points allowed, 23rd in rebounds allowed. Is OG Anunoby playing today? He's a game-time decision. That might impact my thinking just a little bit, but given LeBron James's history against the New York Knicks, I like this bet. So Jorge, LeBron James over 32.5 points plus rebounds. I would take this one. Hasn't been a great trend of late. Has only cashed once in the last 4 games. But against the New York Knicks, it has a good history. On the road, over the last 20 games, it's cashed in 12 of the last 20. I tend to think this is going to go. I like the bet. Right now, I'm actually seeing it at over 31.5. So Jorge, make sure you're getting it at the best spot. Don't take the 32.5 if you don't have to. If you don't have to, take the 31.5. We've hit 5,000 likes. Another pick coming your way. Let's make it another college basketball bet. Another college basketball bet for you guys out there. I am going to give you 2 plays, same team name from 2 different states. You follow me? I am taking Miami. That's Florida. Miami Hurricanes. All about the U. Miami on the money line. Miami on the money line. I am also taking Miami of Ohio. Shout out to the Ben Roethlisberger fans out there. Miami of Ohio, I am taking at plus 11.5. So 2 more college basketball picks for you. Miami of Florida on the money line. Miami of Ohio to cover by 11.5 points. They're an underdog. Miami of Ohio plus 11.5. 2 college basketball bets for you. Lauren, yo, hope you're having a great day, Lauren. Wonderful to see you in the show. Let's go check out Jalen Johnson, getting a question about Jalen Johnson. If any of you guys want to join the show as a guest, I love talking to you guys live on the air, so make sure you hit us up. By the way, I'm doing well, having a great day talking sports with you. If any of you guys want to join the show as a guest, be live on the air to talk about what's going on in the sports world, or ask your questions, just hit us up as a guest on TikTok. Absolutely love having you guys join the show. Jalen Johnson over 15.5 points, Diego, is a good implied probability on Outlier at 15.5 points. He's also cashed on this in 5 straight games, 7 of his last 10. We're going to look specifically at how the Warriors have done against the small forward position. They're 18th in the league when it comes to points allowed to small forwards, so that's okay. We'll be in favor of that. But this has been a very strong trend, especially at home. He's actually cashed on over 15.5 points in 8 of his last 10 games. Head-to-head against the Golden State Warriors. No data there. Oh, he has played them once this season, once this season, and he did get to 21 points when they played in Golden State or in San Francisco. Over the last 20 games, this is cashed 12 of the last 20. In home games, 13 of the last 20. I like this bet overall. Jalen Johnson over 15.5 points. You know me, I'll move the line just a little bit, but I will tack this on to my own big board. I think you found a good one. Jalen Johnson over 14.5 points. I think he gets to 15. I'll make it a little bit safer. But Diego, love the research you're doing. You're doing a good job. Elite Detail, let's have a day. Hope you're off to a wonderful Saturday. Not just you, Elite Detail, but all of you watching across TikTok, YouTube, Twitch, and Kick. It is so wonderful to come up and see you guys, the handles that have become regulars here, watching the show every day. CL, Butt Fumble Sports, a welcome break from homework I should be doing. Well, I don't want to keep you too much from your homework. You can tell I'm a big nerd. I love looking at data analytics. I love doing my homework for you guys every day. So I don't want to discourage bad habits, but for now, I certainly love the idea of giving you guys some good entertainment on this Saturday afternoon. Diego, that's a lawn pick. I like it, Diego. I like it, buddy. Anthony, what teams would you take on the spread today and the teams on the money line for the best parlay bet? Anthony, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to give out my picks and then I'm going to put it in your hands. I'm not going to necessarily say here are the 3 that I would do because, 1, that would suggest an overconfidence. I gave you my best bet of the day, my SHARPZ play of the day. That's Knicks on the money line. Anthony, in terms of teams that I'm taking against the spread, Virginia plus 7.5, Minnesota plus 5.5, Miami of Ohio plus 11.5. I'll give you another one right now as we've hit 6,000 likes. When we hit 7, I'll give another one. Kansas. Kansas is playing Houston. I'm taking Kansas at plus 6.5. Kansas as an underdog. Give me that every day of the week. So that's another against the spread play that I like. At 7,000 likes, I will give you another bet that I like today. This one will be a total. This one's going to be a game total for the NBA. So we'll give out a game total for the NBA when we hit 7,000 likes, almost there. Elite Detail, we are liking the Knicks today. Love the Knicks. Really, it's more about the Lakers as well. Lakers had a phenomenal game against the Celtics. I don't think that the bench will duplicate that. I don't think they're going to shoot the 3-point at the same clip they did the other night. And I don't think the Knicks are going to overlook that matchup. So I have good faith in the Knicks getting that win. We just hit 7,000 likes. Thanks, guys, for tapping that screen. So appreciate you guys supporting the show. The bet I'm going to give out next is Bucks Mavericks, and I'm going to take the under on this one, under 252. Bucks Mavericks under 252. I think Luka has a big game. I think Giannis has a big game, but I'm still going to lean towards the under. The trends say the under's the better play, under 252. Ian Barker, I took Dinwiddie over 9.5, Draymond over 6.5. I love those too, Ian. Those are two good finds. Appreciate you guys being with us. Throw your questions or comments in the chat. When we hit 8,000 likes, we'll give out another pick. For now, we're just going to do research, rant about what's going on in the sports world. So curious to know what topics you guys care about the most on this Saturday. It feels weird, doesn't it? No NFL this weekend. I know there's the Pro Bowl, but does anyone care about that? This is the first Saturday that we've had since August that hasn't had either college football or the NFL to bet on. Definitely feels like a lonely, lonely weekend to us. Anthony Davis over 11.5 rebounds. Diego, let's take a quick look at it. We're going to look at Anthony Davis, assuming that he plays today. Obviously, he's listed as questionable. We're going to look at rebounds. We're not going to look at points, even though I just pulled it up that way. Against the power forward position, the Knicks are the best team in the NBA at preventing rebounds by power forwards. Let me say that again, Diego. Anthony Davis is facing the best defense in the league at preventing power forward rebounds. Now, I understand that includes Julius Randle being on the floor and Mitchell Robinson. Both those guys are out, so maybe you feel a little bit differently about it. But be mindful, this isn't a good matchup. At least historically, the Knicks have been good this year. That said, Anthony Davis has cashed on this in 8 of his last 10 games. Sorry, in 7 of his last 10 games he's cashed on this. Specifically on the road. Hasn't been as good a trend. 5 out of the last 10, 4 out of the last 6. I tend to say I lean away from it today. There's just not enough of a reason for me to take it. Not enough strong trends in its favor. Head-to-head against the Knicks, I know he's cashed on it his last 2 times against the Knicks, but those were both in LA. In his last meeting in New York against the Knicks, he didn't hit that mark. So I'm going to say avoid this one, Diego. Not a good play for me. G. Smill is asking about Utah State. Interestingly enough, I didn't take Utah State today. Didn't go in that direction. Let's pull up that game because I want to look at where the public money is coming down on that Utah State game. G. Mill. Stumpy rules, I tend to buy points. Stumpy rules, I buy points and then I throw them into parlays. So if there's a reason that you're hearing me give out a line that's different, it's because I think that when the sports books give you Kansas plus 1.5, I think it's a trap. So I tend to try to avoid the sports books potholes and find ways to play it a little bit safer. Yes, that means I'm taking it at worse odds. But if I fold it into some parlays, if I feel good about a couple of bets and I put them together, that's why I do that. The real reason, too, is I love round robins. If you guys don't know round robins, there's something that are really popular on DraftKings in which I can put together, say, 4 different I have 4 games I like. It'll put it in pairs of 2. It'll group it by 3s. So there are multiple ways that I can get that bad odd into a better odd placement. So Kansas plus 6.5, that's where I took it because I don't see any way Kansas doesn't cover 6.5 points. Feels very safe. Put it in a parlay with something else I like. You're getting close to even money. Okay, Utah State. What time is Utah State tip-off? Let me know because I want to make sure I'm doing my research for you and I'm not just scrambling here. So let me know, when is Utah State tipping off? I'll find that game. There are just so many today that I don't want to be searching too long and having you guys waiting. 3:30. Thank you so much. Okay, let's jump over to 3:30. Great. Okay, Utah State, San Diego State. I like San Diego State on the money line on this one. San Diego State on the money line. Frankly, if I had to go either direction, I'd probably take San Diego State to cover, not by the 5.5, but let's say by -3. That feels like a good play. But San Diego State on the money line, I actually have that one in my notes, so let's add it on to our picks on the big board. San Diego State on the money line. Appreciate the question. That's how the research comes out. Ian Barker is asking about the Zags, Gonzaga, with their super matchup against St. Mary's tonight. Last game of the day tips off at 10:30 West Coast time. So right now, Gonzaga is the heavy money line favorite. Interestingly enough, on the spread, there are more tickets being placed on St. Mary's, but the money is on Gonzaga. Very, very interesting. I actually think I like Gonzaga to cover the spread, just basing it on where I'm seeing the money coming in. Additionally, the line movement kind of working against us. I'd like to take it at what the original line was. That's Gonzaga. I can get Gonzaga minus 1.5 at minus 185. Let's tack that one up on the big board. Gonzaga minus 1.5. That feels like a good bet as well. Again, that's minus 1.5, getting it at minus 188. I like that bet a lot. That's even better than the original odds that came out. Ian Barker, that's how I'd play that one. Mr. Boomin's asking about Steph Curry. I love Steph Curry on points today. He's got a really good matchup against the Hawks. I actually think both Trae Young and Steph Curry have big games today. Let's show you Steph Curry really quick. So Steph Curry, his point total is set at 27.5 against point guards. The Hawks are the 27th defense at allowing points to point guards, so they're a terrible matchup. Sorry, they're a great matchup for us. They have a tough time against point guards. I didn't take it at the 26.5. I took it at over 24.5. I think Steph Curry gets to 25 points. Let me tack that one up on my screen as well. Steph Curry over 24.5 points. Love that play. Good find. Diego, this is my favorite pick of the day. Donovan Mitchell over 28.5 points. Very, very bold. I really like Donovan Mitchell's matchup today, both in points and assists. I could see him having a big game. So, Diego, absolutely think you're onto something. Ian Barker, thanks for watching the show. Mr. Boomin, thanks for watching the show. It is so wonderful having every single one of you guys with us. Stumpy Rules. What is inferred by differences between tickets and money? Is money usually the smarter money? Exactly. Stumpy Rules, that's exactly right. So when you think about it, the number of tickets being bet, that's the public in its most obvious form. That's people just of any background, of any knowledge, just putting down bets. That's why that is the one I usually try to fade, or I put less stock in. But when you see money, especially heavy money, going in a certain direction, that tells you something, especially when it's not in line with the number of total tickets bet. So if the public is betting a lot of tickets in one direction, but the money is going in the other, that's exactly right. That's sharp money or smart money, and that's telling you that the guys who do this for a living, who really know what they're doing, they like the other side of it. Now, I understand Vegas wants the money to lose, not the tickets to lose, but that's okay. Now, when those two things are going in the same direction, that's where I sometimes get a little nervous, but when they're going in opposite directions, follow the money, don't follow the public. So that's how I'd go with that, Stumpy Rules. I hope that made sense. I hope I explained that correctly and made that easy for you. Diego, I took St. John's plus 6.5, but I have UConn still winning by 2. I think that's a smart hedge right there, Diego. I think that's going to be about a 6-5 point game, so I think you're on to something with that one. By the way, Stumpy Rules, this is why I'm here. I love talking sports. I've worked at ESPN, Fox Sports, CBS Interactive, CBS Sports. I was a producer for Jim Rome. I love making sports content. I love talking sports with you guys every day. And something that I've learned over the last few years, obviously, is fantasy sports and sports betting. Now, I don't do it based on gut. I don't do it based on my favorite teams or my favorite players. I do it based on trends, data, analytics, and the line movement. So when you guys come to Butt Fumble Sports, I want to make you guys smarter. I want to give you guys informed opinions or informed picks. But I also want to warn you guys, I will never say anything is a lock. I'll never tell you anything is a sure thing. We look at data to try to find the best advantage we can against the sports books, and hopefully we come out on top. We usually hit at about a 65% clip. Obviously, parlays bring that down. I do a lot of parlays for because I'm with you guys and for the app that sponsors us. But when it comes to individual bets, we hit it a bit between 65 and 68% clip. That, for me, is a great percentage. If anyone tells you they're hitting it in 80, 85% clip or higher, throw them away. They're absolutely bullshit. It just doesn't happen. Mr. Boomin, Warriors on the money line. I tend to say avoid it. I actually like the Hawks on the money line, Mr. Boomin. I like the Warriors to cover. There are reasons the Hawks have actually done pretty well against the Warriors when those two teams have met. Keep in mind, Hawks coming off a win yesterday. Stumpy Rules, thank you for saying that. We really appreciate the kind words. Diego, what's your take for Duke, UNC? Who wins? This pains me. I have a family member who went to Duke. Unfortunately, this game is in Chapel Hill, and I think UNC is going to get this win today. In fact, if I had to go in any direction, I would even go with them on the spread. I am not, though. Not a bet I'm giving out. The bet I am giving out is UNC on the money line. I think North Carolina gets the win at home today, so give me UNC. Tar Heels get the dub in the big rivalry game, the Tobacco Road rivalry between Duke and UNC. Let me repeat some of the bets in case for those on TikTok who have missed some of the picks we've given out so far. I'm going to rattle through them. If you want all of my bets all in one place, DM me on Instagram. I give them away for free. But here are the picks in case you've missed any of them so far. College basketball picks. Texas +5. Virginia +7.5. Indiana on the money line. Marquette on the money line. Minnesota +5.5. Throw it in some parlays. Miami of Florida on the money line. Miami of Ohio +11.5. Kansas +6.5. San Diego State on the money line. Gonzaga -1.5. And UNC on the money line. Those are the college basketball picks we've given out so far. Really quick, let me tell you the NBA picks we've given out so far. Our SHARPZ play of the day, my favorite bet of the day, regardless of the sport or type of bet so far. Knicks on the money line. Like I said, MSG is going to be rocking. The Lakers have not covered. They have not covered the spread as a road dog in back-to-back games at any point this season since I think November. So I really think the Knicks are in a good spot today. They're on a winning streak. Lakers obviously got that win against the against the Celtics the other night. I don't think they duplicate that kind of performance. I'm taking Knicks on the money line at the Garden tonight. Also, a few more NBA picks for you. Cavaliers on the money line. Hawks on the money line, but I am taking the Warriors +6.5. I probably feel better about the Warriors side of that, just to give you guys a heads up. I'm also taking the 76ers on the money line, and I also put down Bucks, Mavericks under 252. G. Smill. Always be Baylor, always be checking. I got you. CKD Warrior, what's your take about the Lakers talking about trading LeBron? It's nonsense. It's not going to happen. There are times in this world where the sports media, powers that be, the sports media content creators, they try to stir the pot. They want to create a little bit of storyline. Keep in mind, we are also entering the dark days of the sports calendar year where the NFL is fading away. We haven't reached MLB yet. We haven't reached the tournament yet. This is the time where if you're a producer at ESPN, if you're a producer for Fox Sports 1, you're grasping for any storyline that you can get your hands on because you're just trying to keep the momentum of the football season going. You're trying to build a bridge between that to basketball and to other sports. This is the time of year where bullshit is at peak level. This is when nonsense gets its most time on the air. It's about now and like June, July, the two dead times of the sports calendar year. So LeBron James being traded is bullshit. It's not going to happen. LeBron James has already said it's not going to happen. His representatives have said it's not going to happen. This is something where the sports media community is trying to gaslight us into thinking there's a possibility of it. But CKD, LeBron is not going anywhere. He will be a Laker throughout this season. Will he be a Laker next year? That's a separate story. There's actually real momentum towards him leaving the Lakers after this year. But will LeBron James be traded before the deadline? Hell no. Hell no. So what player do you think that the Lakers will trade? I think the Lakers are, frankly, in a brutal spot. I don't know who they can trade. I know D'Angelo Russell has been brought up, but if I were another team, I don't think D'Angelo Russell is nearly enough, especially because I think he's got some Jordan Poole in him. When he plays with other talent, he looks really good. When he plays on his own, he's just a chucker. He's just George Costanza just chucking it from wherever. So personally, I don't think the Lakers have too much they could give up. They'd have to give up draft picks. I don't think they want to do that. So overall, I think the Lakers are not going to be able to upgrade their roster to the extent that a lot of LA fans want them to. Diego, NCAA women's basketball is underrated. Final Four, South Carolina, Iowa, LSU, Stanford. Diego, I am more excited about women's college basketball this year than men's college basketball. Men's college basketball, they don't have a lot of stars. There are no real programs that I'm like, oh, they're such a juggernaut. I'm so excited about them. Women's college basketball, I know a lot of people are going to throw shade or they're going to like roll their eyes. It has never been better. There are competitive teams. There are stars. There are rivalries. There are good matchups. I mean, what more could you ask? I think the women's Elite 8 is going to be more entertaining than the men's Elite 8. I'd be willing to go out on that limb. Money sign W Bitcoin. How do you feel about that Houston, Kansas game, UNC Duke, and TCU Texas? We took Kansas to cover, but we bought some points. We took UNC on the money line, and we took Texas to cover, but we also bought some points on that. Mike Torres, VCU money line, Texas A&M on the money line. You heard it here. Mike Torres, great to see you. Stumpy rules, you know what they say. Costanza. Get stuck in your head, right? Diego, Lakers need to get rid of D'Angelo and Rui Hachimura. I both agree with you, but what could they get of value in return? Are there a lot of trade partners they could go to who would jump at the chance to take Russell or Rui Hachimura? I don't think so. I think the shine has come off both of them. I actually think this is part of the problem too, is the Lakers pulled off some great trades last year. And if there's anything we know about sports, teams usually go, man, they knew how to fleece teams last year. I don't want to get fleeced by them this year. I think the Lakers are going to have a tougher time finding trade partners this season than they did last year because the Lakers made such good deals last year and propelled it into a good playoff run. I think teams are going to be a bit cautious because the pieces the Lakers are asking for, I think teams know they're probably going to get robbed or give up the better of the deal to the Lakers. G-Smell, exactly what I'm saying. I got you, G-Smell. Diego, I hope we can get DeJounte Bay in a 3-team trade. That is such a pipe dream. Do I think DeJounte Murray is coming to the Lakers? I don't, because what could you possibly give up that the Lakers, what could the Lakers give up to validate a trade of a player of that caliber? I just don't see it. I think Laker fans are a little bit delusional about this year. Laker fans were trying to sell me on this team. I think the Lakers actually were sold kind of a false bill of goods last year. Sometimes it's okay to suck. Sometimes you actually are made worse by making it into the postseason and thinking that you almost have the team and you're only a few pieces away. The Lakers are closer to rebuild than they are to a title. If I were the Lakers, I'd be seriously considering a trade of whatever pieces I could to start preparing for a restructuring of the squad next year. Keep in mind, LeBron might not be there. Jack P, have any player prop bet locks tonight? Okay, Jack P said the one word we don't like here, and that's a lock. I will never say anything is a lock. There are no locks in life. There are no certainties in life, especially when it comes to sports betting. And the reason I say that, and I sound like such an old man about it, is because, frankly, I don't want you guys losing your money. I don't want you guys getting a false impression or a false notion. There are so many people on social media or on TV these days who do sports betting advice, and they say something's a lock. I always feel like that makes that person look like a total jackass. There are no locks. We have good, there are good odds. There are good probabilities. There are good trends. No such thing as a lock. Jack P, that spiel aside, here are the picks, the player prop bets that I really like today, okay? Here are player prop bets that I really like. Clint Capella, over half a block. Really like that one. I put the reasoning up on my Instagram account. Draymond Green, over 6.5 points. We also like Draymond Green over 19.5 points, rebounds, and assists. That was a shout out from one of our viewers. Good research on that. Speaking of our viewers, they also recommended Spencer Dinwiddie over 9.5. That's a good play. I love LeBron James over 19.5 points. Put it into some parlays though. Not great odds, but if you parlay LeBron James over 19.5 points and maybe a bet that you find a little bit safer, should get you on the right side of the odds. We also took from the Atlanta Hawks Jalen Johnson over 14.5 points. And the last player prop bet we've given out so far, though I do have 2 more to give out, is Steph Curry over 24.5 points. Steph Curry over 24.5 points. Let me give out one more player prop bet while we're at it. I'm going to take Nick Claxton over, and we're taking this at over 9.5 points as well. So we got a couple players we're looking to get over 9.5 points from the Nets. Spencer Dinwiddie over 9.5. Nick Claxton over 9.5. Those are 2 bets we like. G. Smill, I tend to agree with you. I like Texas to cover today. CKD won Zach LaVine in Lakerland. That one has a bit more of a chance of happening than it did maybe a few months ago. I don't feel great about it, though. J.R. Charles, why are the Bulls favored today? Good question. Why are they favored? Probably because they've had the rest, and the Kings are coming off that game against the Pacers last night. There's also a bit of a history there, so I don't have a problem with it. Appreciate you guys being with us. Hope you guys are loving the show. If you are, hit that follow button. Make sure you follow Butt Fumble Sports every single day. CKD's going with an upset today. Lakers over the Knicks. I mentioned it earlier. If that were to happen, it would be the first time this year that the Lakers have been a road dog and won back-to-back games. Tend to feel like the Knicks are a good play today. Diego, Tyrese Maxey under 41.5 points, rebounds, and assists. Let's take a look at this one really quick. We're going to look at Tyrese Maxey, and we're going to look at points, rebounds, and assists. So real quick, pull it up here on Outlier. The Nets against point guard position, they're 24th in points allowed. That isn't what we like, but rebounds 13th, 6th in assists. I tend to like the under on points, rebounds, and assists, Diego, but I would also say don't be surprised if Maxey has a good day scoring the basketball. Personally, if I could take it at over, the problem is I don't like any of the odds they're giving out, so that's why I didn't place it as one of my bets. But if I could have gotten this at over 24.5, I would have taken it. But because I can't get it at a good spot, I'll just avoid it. But I like your idea of an under for Tyrese Maxey, points, rebounds, and assists. Jorge is asking about Trae Young. Let's take a look at Trae Young, points and assists. We first look at points. I love the over on points for him today. I would take it at over... Oh, I don't like it there. I would take it at over, let's say 23.5. I'll put that one up on the board. Trae Young over 23.5 points. I like that play, but you're asking about points and assists. Let's look at the combination of the two. Points and assists. So the Golden State Warriors, they're 26th in points allowed to point guards, 19th in assists allowed to point guards. Trae Young has gone over this total 4 straight times. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. Breaking news right now. Breaking news. Sorry, Jorge, what I would say is, overall, I tend to like this play. I'm not huge on it. I lean towards saying yes. I'd probably buy it down, get it at over 34.5. Over 34.5 for Trae Young on points and assists. But we have some breaking news now out of the NFL, everybody. Breaking news out of the NFL. Cliff Kingsbury, who is reported to be the new offensive coordinator for the Las Vegas Raiders, has actually pulled out of consideration. He is taking himself out of the running. I thought that was a done deal. It sounded like Cliff Kingsbury was going to be with the Raiders. He is declining that. He is saying no. Cliff Kingsbury is not joining the Raiders. So now the Raiders still need to find an OC. Very, very interesting. I wonder if he's in line for another job and that's what he's taking. Kind of curious what's going on there. G. Smill, about to make a parlay for college basketball. Going to put Texas +6. I like it. What else should I put? Well, I gave out my college basketball picks so far. Texas, I like them at +6. Virginia +7.5. Indiana on the money line. I'm just going through them. I know a couple of these have already started. Minnesota +5.5. Miami of Florida on the money line. Miami of Ohio +11.5. Kansas +6.5. Kansas +6.5 might be a nice one to put in there. San Diego State on the money line. Gonzaga -1.5 and UNC on the money line. Maybe UNC on the money line and Kansas +6.5. G. Smill, just a couple to think about. Diego asking about Nikola Vucevic. Let's take a look at Nikola Vucevic today. If any of you guys want to join the show, talk about what's going on in the sports world, I love treating it like a true sports radio show at times. So if you guys want to join the show as a guest, join live. Love talking to you. Just hit us up as a guest on TikTok. Great getting some new voices here every now and then. Nikola Vucevic under 31.5 points plus rebounds. Points plus rebounds. Let's take a look at it. Okay, so he has a matchup today against the Kings. The Kings give up a lot of rebounds to centers. They're really good again when it comes to points allowed to centers, but not so good on rebounds. At home, this has been a good trend towards the under. I get what you're going with here. I tend to like the under on this. He did go over against the Kings the last time they played. Personally, I'd take the under on points. I'd go under 21.5 points. I feel like that's a good bet. Under 21.5 points is cashed in 14 of his last 20 games, in 7 of his last 10. I'd go under on points. I don't know if I do points and rebounds, Diego. Little bit nervous about that. But I'd go Nikola Vucevic under 21.5 points. I'm actually going to put that one up on my big board right now. Nikola Vucevic under 21.5 points. Again, that's heavily based on the matchup. Mamba, great to see you, Mamba. Hope you're having a wonderful day. Great to have you with us. CKD Warrior, that's because the Raiders organization said no to trading up for Caleb Williams, the report is. I mean, I also feel like the Bears were not going to trade that pick. So I feel like if that's what it was all predicated on, that was kind of a lot of nonsense then. But there was never a chance to me that the Bears were going to trade that number 1 overall pick to the Raiders. They might trade it down a couple of spots, but I think if the Bears are going to trade down and not take Caleb Williams and keep Justin Fields, it means they want Marvin Harrison Jr. I never thought the Raiders were going to get that number 1 spot for Caleb Williams. Arctic Tiger, DeJounte Murray, 10.5 rebounds and assists. We'll cover this. We're coming towards the end of our show. Too bad this was a very heavy research-based show. I really like talking to you guys about what's going on in the sports world. I know you guys like getting your research in, but love talking sports when we can. Kind of disappointed we didn't do more of it. DeJounte Murray, over 10.5 rebounds and assists, has been a very good play. Good implied improbability as well. 55% implied probability. This is cashed in 5 straight games, 8 of the last 10. It's almost getting to lawn status over here. Against point guards, rebounds and assists are both pretty good against the Warriors. I tend to... it's been a good trend over the last, let's say, 10 games. Prior to that, it had not been a good trend. Against the Warriors, though, 3 straight games against the Warriors, this is cashed. Arctic Tiger, DeJounte Murray, over 10.5 rebounds and assists. I'll endorse that one. That is one that I like. Hope you guys have been loving the content and loving the show. Kingsbury wants to be where Caleb Williams is. Man, if he is, he's got to make his inroads to Chicago, because it sounds like that's where Caleb Williams is going to end up. Even to the extent that Caleb Williams' camp has come out and said all that talk about we don't want to be drafted by the Bears, that's nonsense. Clearly someone got in his ear and it was like, do you really want to turn down being the number 1 overall pick and all the money that comes with it? I think Caleb Williams and his team was like, yeah, let's not be stupid. Let's cash checks. CKD, what's your take on the Giants draft, either Napiers or Jaden Daniels? I don't think there's any chance they can get Jaden Daniels. I don't think Jaden Daniels is going to make it through to where the Giants are drafting. I think by that time, either the Commanders or the Patriots are going to draft him, so you can put that out of your mind. I think Malik Neighbors is a great call. I could see him absolutely going there. There are a couple players that I could see the Giants targeting. I could also see them going after offensive line help. There's just a lot of things the Giants can do. They have a lot of issues that they need to address. Yeah, CKD, I don't think they're going to get him at 6th. It's just for Jaden Daniels to make it past the first 3 picks would require a bizarre start to this draft. I just don't think it's going to happen. I think that Caleb Williams and Jaden Daniels are going to go in the top 3 picks. I think Drake May is going to be the wild card here. Ian Barker, how often are you live doing these shows? Every single day. We are live on Saturday and Sunday at 12 p.m. We are live Monday through Friday at 5 p.m. Eastern. So if you love the show, hit the follow button whether you're watching on YouTube, TikTok, Twitch, or Kick. We are live every single day, Monday through Friday at 5 p.m. Eastern, Saturday and Sunday at 12 p.m. Eastern. What does that mean? Tomorrow at 12 p.m., we'll be right here talking sports with you guys. What do you think the Raiders will draft at 13th overall? I think the Raiders will draft the best player available. I actually think the Raiders are one of those teams. They have so many needs across so many positions. I think they should just take the best player on their board. Some people might try and talk me into a quarterback. I tend to think that's the wrong pick because you're probably drafting Michael Penix Jr. or Bo Nix by that point. Neither actually are attractive to me. If I were the Raiders, this is what I would do. I would use my first round pick on the best player on the board, and I'd look for Spencer Rattler to be available in round 2 or round 3. If you guys have been watching the Senior Bowl, Spencer Rattler is impressing a lot of folks there. He's showing people that he actually was worthy of the hype status he got a few years ago when he was at Oklahoma. I know he's been through the transfer portal, ended up at South Carolina. He's had a crazy career, but Spencer Rattler has a lot of talent. I don't think he actually washed out in college the way a lot of people thought. So I think he might be someone the Raiders should target, again, in the 2nd or 3rd round. But in the 1st round, don't go quarterback. Go towards something that you know you're going to get a really solid play. Q. Dot, how do you feel about the Patriots hiring Van Pelt as OC? I'm a Pats fan. I just want to know your insight. So I grew up in New England. I grew up a Patriots fan. I am certainly on the lower side of my Patriots fandom now that they let Belichick go. I thought it was important for them to bring in someone new. I like the idea of Van Pelt's got a good history of balancing run and pass. I think that's really important. But for me, it's less about Van Pelt, and it's all about the quarterback they're drafting. The Patriots are either going to draft Drake May or Jaden Daniels. If you ask Patriot fans right now, I think they probably say, I want Jaden Daniels more. I think that's probably right. They may not get that choice. But depending on who you have, you need to build an offense for that young quarterback to succeed, because they're probably going to be on the field within the first season they're in the Patriots on the Patriots roster. So if I'm Van Pelt, I make sure I have a balanced running attack with Stevenson and some of the other weapons you have, maybe Kevin Harris and others, and that way you take some of that pressure off of your starting quarterback. Play action needs to be incredibly important for the Patriots if they're going to be successful offensively. Elite Detail, Indiana is -6.5 at the half. Should we take them at the half? No, I'd go in the other direction. I like Indiana on the money line, but I would not take them to cover. In fact, I actually think that game could be much closer. If you're seeing it at 6.5, take the other side. Take the underdog at +6.5. CKD Warrior, Bo Nix will be the best QB in the draft. I'm saying it now. CKD, I will make that bet with you every frickin' day. Bo Nix is not nearly as talented as some of the other players in this quarterback draft. He has a smaller size. I actually think the comp for him could be Drew Brees, but he needs a lot of weapons around him. By the way, Drew Brees at the absolute zenith peak of what he could be. I think Bo Nix is a little bit overrated by people. He put up big numbers at Oregon, but frankly, he had good receivers. He wasn't facing great competition every week, and when he did face great competition, he lost, aka to Washington. So I'm not as big on Bo Nix as others. Some people are trying to tell me that he belongs in Pittsburgh. I don't think that's a great fit. I think that actually the best spot for him might be in Washington. If he were drafted by the Seattle Seahawks and had a year to sit behind Geno Smith, I think that would serve him well. But do I think Bo Nix is the best QB in the draft? I don't think he's the 3rd best QB in the draft. He might not even be the 4th best QB in the draft. To me, Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, Drake May, and for now, Michael Penix Jr. go ahead of him. And I don't know if Spencer Rattler is better or not, but I'm not as high on Bo Nix as you are, CKD Warrior. Appreciate you guys being with us. Hope you guys are loving the show. G. Smill, Texas Tech on the money line. Will Bo Nix go in the 1st round? I don't think so. I think his stock is going to fall. I also think that we've realized that when you have like 5 quarterbacks in a 1st round, usually the 5th guy doesn't turn out that good. So we just have a history of when you have a very loaded quarterback draft, there's usually talent in those top 2 or 3. But once you fall outside of that, it gets a little dicier. Let's go look at Texas Tech on the money line for those that are asking about it. Hope you guys have loved the show. Make sure you hit the follow button. Make sure you're subscribing. That way you never miss when Butt Fumble Sports is live. If you don't mind, G. Smill, when does Texas Tech tip off? Do me that favor. When does Texas Tech tip off? By the way, I'll give you this. J.J. McCarthy and Bo Nix are both wildly overrated. Like, wildly overrated. I'm not saying they're bad. I actually think both could be decent NFL quarterbacks, but both are wildly overrated. Both are getting way too much hype from their fan base, but when you actually look at how they performed against the competition they played, both kind of left you wanting more. That's at least where I come out on it. CKD Warrior, I got that vibe. I knew you disagreed with me, given it was your hot take, and I was shooting you down on it. So don't worry, I got the vibe that we were seeing this in opposite directions. But that's why I love talking sports with sports fans. We don't have to agree. As long as you have a good reason behind your argument, I'm more than happy to respect it. Cincinnati playing Texas Tech today. I like Texas Tech on the money line. I definitely like that. I'd also consider Texas Tech actually on the spread. Texas Tech on the spread at, let's say, -3.5, -2.5. I like that. I'll throw that one up on my big board. That is Texas Tech -2.5. That's where I'd play that one. So there you go. Texas Tech -2.5. Thanks, Ian Barker. Appreciate you, buddy. CKD Warrior, appreciate you. Time will tell who's right. By the way, we should keep track of this. CKD Warrior, just jot it down in some notes. We should keep track of where you guys and I disagree. We can always turn back to it in future shows. Obviously, bragging rights on the line. That was actually something that I produced a segment when I was at Fox Sports. Fox Sports Live at the time was the show I worked on. And I came up with the idea of a segment called Bragging Rights, where, Donovan McNabb and Andy Roddick would bet on something, and if Andy Roddick lost, he'd have to dress up like something, or, they had that kind of thing. I love that kind of competition back and forth. It just serves where if you make a hot take, if you make a statement about what's going to happen, make sure you stand by it. One of my favorites was between, I believe, Donovan McNabb and Ephraim Salaam, and Donovan McNabb had to dress up like Santa because he lost the bet. One of my favorite times there at Fox Sports. That and Gary Payton had a bet with Andy Roddick. The loser had to dress up like the winner. Andy Roddick, we got him like an old Supersonic shirt, Seattle Sonic shirt. Just a great memory from my time there at Fox Sports. CKD Warrior, fire away. We're here for it, buddy. If you guys do have questions or comments, get them in now. How do you feel about Roman Wilson? Jury's still out for me. Jury's still out for me on Roman Wilson. What about you, CKD? What questions do you have? If you are watching on YouTube, TikTok, Twitch, or Kick, know how grateful I am for the support. Know how grateful I am that you take the time out of your day to watch our show. CKD Warrior, I see a lot of reports about Devontae Smith being traded to the Jets for the 9th overall pick. First of all, I've heard a lot of rumors about Davante Adams being traded to the Jets. Here's what I would say, though. If that happens, if you love the Jets, you should be crying. If you hate the Jets, you should be celebrating. There is one thing that the Jets must do this offseason. Build a better offensive line. If the New York Jets do not build a better offensive line this offseason, kick them out of the league. Just destroy them. They're awful. The Jets have one job this offseason. Protect Aaron Rodgers, build an offensive line. Look, Davante Adams and Aaron Rodgers were a dynamic duo. I also think Aaron Rodgers and Garrett Wilson could be a dynamic duo. But the thing that has kept the Jets from succeeding with Aaron Rodgers was the protection in the offensive line. He got 4 snaps last year. It wasn't about receivers. The Jets actually have decent receivers overall. They need one thing. They need offensive linemen. If they don't do that, shame on them. Fire the GM. Diego, I see Joe Alt going there. There are a couple offensive linemen that are going to go within the top 10. Joe Alt being one of them. I absolutely could see that. Now, a trade between the Jets and the Giants would be interesting. New York would certainly take to that. I don't know if that's going to happen because if the Giants did trade to the Jets, the fan bases might grumble over it. The Giants fan base might grumble over it. But that said, Jets drafting Joe Alt makes a lot of sense to me. Respawn, you think Kyren Williams is a first-round pick in next year's fantasy draft? 100%. I actually think right now he's probably a top 5, top 6 pick. That's how highly I think of him. Do the Raiders re-sign Josh Jacobs? I don't think so, CKD. I think the Raiders have so many areas they need to address. They need to preserve the draft cap. The salary cap space. I don't think Josh Jacobs is going to be returning to the Raiders. Sorry, buddy. The Cooper movie, Drake May to Washington. So I'm really conflicted here. I think Drake May to Washington makes a ton of sense, but it really to me is about who's the offensive coordinator for Dan Quinn. If Dan Quinn brings in an offensive coordinator that likes to have a lot of run-pass option, you got to go Jaden Daniels. On the flip side, if you want to go with the traditional tall, big-bodied quarterback with a big arm, Drake May makes sense. I don't have a good vibe because I thought Ben Johnson was going to take that Washington Commanders job. Drake May would have fit him. I don't know where Dan Quinn's going to go. Diego, if Chip Kelly is the OC, put me down for Jaden Daniels going to Washington. Chip Kelly and Jaden Daniels make so much sense together in terms of the run-pass option and how Chip Kelly likes to utilize the quarterback position. So if the Commanders do hire Chip Kelly, put me down for Jaden Daniels being the second overall pick. Yeah, CKD just doesn't feel like he's going to be back. By the way, I have reached that point in just evaluating year over year the running back position where I go, you shouldn't pay for running backs. I know that that's an unpopular position with players, very popular obviously with owners and GMs, but running backs who get paid top dollar, how often do they really win? Now, I know Christian McCaffrey is an incredible exception to the rule. He's in the Super Bowl, but how often does a top running back actually get there? Let's think about it. The running backs in the NFC Championship game were David Montgomery, Jahmyr Gibbs, Christian McCaffrey. Okay, Christian McCaffrey, he's the elite, but does anyone say David Montgomery's elite? He's a really good running back, but he's also not overly expensive. Jahmyr Gibbs was a rookie. On the other side, the Baltimore Ravens didn't have a top-tier running back, not an expensive running back, and the Chiefs have been really successful with Pacheco, who they got in a late-round pick. So I think if you're drafting a running back between rounds 3 through 7, that's the way to play it. I wouldn't pay a running back right now. Just a waste of money. CKD, I say Gibbs is better than Bijan. I don't think he is. I think the Lions utilized Gibbs better than the Falcons utilized Bijan Robinson. I think Bijan is more talented. I think Gibbs is in a better situation. Now, what's more important? More talent or a better situation? Better situation matters more. If you're in the right situation, a lesser talented player can produce above expectation, where a more talented player, obviously, if they're not in the right system, they get screwed. So I think Bijan's more talented, but I think Gibbs found the better home, especially not just this year, but maybe for the next couple of years. Diego, where would you rank CJ Stroud in fantasy next year? Okay, if I learned anything from this past fantasy football season, quarterbacks were drafted way too early. We actually didn't get the kind of season people expected. Some people thought we were going to get 40, 50 touchdown pass kind of years. No. The league isn't operating that way. Defenses came back with a vengeance. So what I would say is CJ Stroud might be a good pick in rounds, 6 through 9, 6 through 10. But I think people are going to jump on CJ Stroud multiple rounds earlier than they should. Keep in mind, the only quarterbacks who are really worth it this year were Josh Allen, and you could argue Jalen Hurts because of the rushing touchdowns. Even Lamar Jackson, for the MVP season he had, wasn't like a phenomenal fantasy football loan. CKD Warrior, Bo Nix is next to your CJ Stroud. Honestly, that comparison doesn't even make sense to me. 1, CJ Stroud is a bigger quarterback, like the size doesn't match. 2, Ohio State was in the college football playoff. Bo Nix never reached it. CJ Stroud faced tougher competition. CJ Stroud was the number 2 overall pick in the draft. Bo Nix will not probably be in the first round, even if he is later in the first round. CKD, I think you're in love with Bo Nix a little bit more than you should be. I mean, being the number 1 QB, well, you clearly feel that way about Bo Nix. I wish I could talk you out of it. I think it's a bad take. I think Bo Nix could end up being a serviceable quarterback in the NFL, but I think you're infatuated with him for reasons I don't get. He doesn't have the stature. He doesn't really have the stats. He never faced elite competition in a championship game. Did he ever play in a championship game? Either a Pac-12 championship, I guess he did play in a Pac-12 championship game against Washington, and he lost. So I'm not as big on Bo Nix as you are. Feels like you got a lot of love for the dude. Is he a cousin or something? Appreciate you guys being with us. G. Smill, Iowa State money line over Baylor. Let's take a look at it. If you don't mind me asking, G. Smill, what time does it tip off? If you could help me out with that, I want to make sure I'm not scrambling around for it. No, not family at all. Well, there's something there. There's a little love there. There's a little bit of love there. G. Smill, do you mind letting me know what time that tip-off is? And that way I can find that one for you. I want to make sure I get to that question really fast. 8 o'clock. Thanks so much, buddy. So 8 p.m. Eastern time. Let's take a look. Iowa State, Baylor. Oh, very interesting. Here we go. This is what you're going to like. You're going to love hearing this one. So Baylor has more tickets being bet on it on the money line. You know who's got more money coming down on them? Iowa State Cyclones. If I had to go with any bet for this game, I would take Iowa State on the money line. I'd be willing to take the risk. Iowa State on the money line, I actually think is a very attractive bet. A little Glazer, I got you. I've actually met Jay Glazer. Nice guy. When I was at Fox, I got to know those guys. Strahan, Glazer, obviously Howie. My favorite was Jimmy Johnson. I'm just a huge Jimmy Johnson guy. There you go, G-Spill. Be careful, buddy. Any thoughts on whether the Mavs make a trade and need more defense? I actually think the Mavericks do need to make a move. I think the Mavericks need to upgrade their team. I think the Mavericks have something that can get them into the first round of the playoffs, but right now they couldn't go much farther in a loaded Western Conference. But no, Stumpy Rules, you're right. The Mavericks need to do something. Appreciate you guys being with us. Hope you guys are loving the show, loving the content. If you do, hit that follow button. Make sure you're a follower of Butt Fumble Sports. We're live every day, Monday through Friday at 5 p.m. Eastern, and on the weekend, Saturday and Sunday at 12 p.m. Eastern. By the way, Joel Embiid's torn meniscus has been confirmed, and a report is saying that he may need surgery. So reason for concern if you're a 76ers fan. Jimmy Bones, what's good, Jimmy Bones? Looking at the 6 p.m. tip-off, Ole Miss. How do we feel about that one? Let's take a look at that. I like that you guys are picking up on how the public money works. So Auburn and Ole Miss. Ooh, love it, love it, love it. Check this out, Jimmy Bones. Okay, so Ole Miss is an underdog despite being at home. The public has put 67% of the tickets on Auburn. Tickets are going this way. The money's going the other way. So the money, 97% of the money is right now on Ole Miss. I'd go with Ole Miss on this one. 94% of the money is on Ole Miss on the money line. I'd go Ole Miss on the money line, Jimmy Bones. Ole Miss on the money line. Jimmy Bones, yep, Manhattan came on the cover. Our college basketball plays actually did pretty well today. Doghouse Breaks, what is our favorite play of the day? Our SHARPZ play of the day? Knicks on the money line. The Lakers, as a road dog, have not covered twice this season since maybe November, I think. I put it out on Instagram. Knicks have been scorching hot. And by the way, I actually think the fact that Lakers won against the Celtics the other night is good for the Knicks. The Knicks are going to be humble. They're not going to overlook this team, whether LeBron and AD play or don't. I really like the idea of the Knicks getting the win tonight. Knicks money line. Kevin Miller, Tennessee and Kentucky. I didn't end up betting it. I was a little bit nervous about this one. This is definitely one where I was kind of on the fence. Didn't have a good vibe on it, so I actually didn't bet this game. Tennessee, Kentucky, I didn't bet this one. Remind me, oh, here it is. So I do want to let you know about where the public money is coming down. This you might be happy with. Right now, 84% of the tickets are on Kentucky to win, but 50% of the money is on Tennessee to win. So right now, if I had to go in any direction, I'd probably take Tennessee on the money line if I were to place a bet. I'm not going to. Not a game I want to bet. It feels very tight. Feels like it could come down to a freak play or to foul trouble for either team. But if I had to go in one direction, gun to head, I'd say take Tennessee on the money line. CKD, you personally, what team do you think will be a good fit for Bo Nix? I said it earlier, the Seattle Seahawks would make a lot of sense. Give him a year. He'll sit behind Geno Smith. He'll be able to develop as an NFL quarterback. He will have a really good receiving core when he becomes the starter with DK Metcalf, Jackson Smith, and Jigba. I actually think that would make a lot of sense for him. Minnesota makes sense as well. Less so because Minnesota will need a starting quarterback sooner than the Seahawks. I think Bo Nix in Seattle is a perfect fit. If he went to Pittsburgh, I don't like it. If he went to Minnesota, I think it's a bit of a reach and not a perfect fit. Seattle makes sense because they have a good fit for him, good offense around him. I think that's where he should end up, not necessarily where he will end up. G. Smill is asking about Syracuse and Wake Forest. Let's go look at the public line money on that one. That one tipping off at 7:45 right now. Interesting. Okay, I'm not seeing any money line stats on this, but when it comes to the spread favors, in terms of money being bet on it, Wake Forest. Syracuse has more bets being placed on it as an underdog, but Wake Forest has 80% of the money coming down on its favor. I'd certainly take Wake Forest on the money line, but Wake Forest at maybe -5.5, that's probably where I'd play that one. Stumpy Rules, what app site do you use to do your homework? By the way, easy. Stumpy Rules, DM me on Instagram. I use this website and this app called Outlier. Outlier is the best sports betting research tool I have ever seen, I've ever used. Even when I was at Fox Sports and ESPN, nothing compares to it. If you guys want a free 7-day trial for it, DM me on Instagram. After 7 days of using it for free, I have no doubt that you'll want to buy it or sign up for a subscription. But that's up to you. What I would say is those 7 days, you will have access to more data, more research, more of what you need to put in really well-informed bets than any other app or tool or website. And believe me, I've used almost all of them. 7-day free trial. DM Butt Sports on Instagram. DM me on Instagram, Butt Sports. I'll hook you up with a free 7-day trial for Outlier. Definitely check it out. Kevin Miller, really appreciate it. Thanks for the kind words, buddy. Daniel Sanchez, Steelers named Arthur Smith as OC. He was a bad head coach, but was a good OC in Tennessee. My thoughts? I think he's a better offensive coordinator than he is a head coach. Yep. I think when he's a head coach, one, I think it takes away from his focus on the offensive side of the ball. But more importantly, I think he does well when he can focus on attacking an opposing defense. And I think head coaches are asked to do too much. I think Arthur Smith is a good OC. I think he's a bad head coach. I think he'll probably be an OC for a few years. I don't think he should get another head coaching job. Michael, Outlier's great. I'm telling you, Outlier is as good a tool as there is out there. The way I describe it, if any of you guys do trades, stock trading, it's like a Bloomberg terminal for sports betting. There is no website or app you can use that aggregates, collects, has access to more data. It is fantastic. And by the way, it's not just historical data. It's obviously also player prop bets, but it's the public money. Being able to see where the public is betting gives me such a good indication for how I should be doing things. They have it for the NBA, the NFL, college basketball, NHL, college football, MLB, even the WNBA when the season comes around. So plenty of reasons to DM me on Instagram and get your free 7-day trial to Outlier. Kevin Miller, really appreciate you, buddy. Thanks for DMing me. Okay, guys, we're going to wrap up the show right now. It has been wonderful talking to you guys. Again, if you want all of my bets for free, DM me on Instagram. You want a free 7-day trial to Outlier? DM me on Instagram. Really quick, I'm going to scroll through or say all of the picks I've given out today, okay? One time, I'm going to go through all of my picks. You guys ready? Listen up. Here we go. My Sharps play of the day, my favorite bet of the day, Knicks on the money line. I am also going with Cavaliers on the money line, Hawks on the money line, Warriors plus 6.5, 76ers on the money line, and the Bucks and Mavericks under 252. Okay? Now for some NBA player prop bets. Clint Capella, over half a block. Draymond Green, over 6.5 points. Draymond Green, over 19.5 points, rebounds, and assists. Spencer Dinwiddie, over 9.5 points. LeBron James, over 19.5 points. Jalen Johnson, over 14.5 points. Steph Curry, over 24.5 points. Nick Claxton, over 9.5 points. Trae Young, over 23.5 points. And Nikola Vucevic, under 21.5 points. Now, here are the college basketball game picks that we've given out so far today. Some of them have already tipped off, but bear with me. Texas, plus 5. Virginia, plus 7.5. Indiana, on the money line. Marquette, on the money line. Minnesota, plus 5.5. Miami of Florida, money line. Miami of Ohio, plus 11.5. Kansas, plus 6.5. San Diego State on the money line. Gonzaga minus 1.5. UNC on the money line. And Texas Tech minus 2.5, everybody. I'm going to give you 2 more picks to say thank you for watching the show. I'm taking Arizona State on the money line, Arizona State on the money line, and Michigan State on the money line. Those are 2 more picks to top it all off for you guys today. I have had so much fun talking with you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed as well. We are live every single day talking sports, sports betting, fantasy football, everything else. If you guys want every bet I made, just DM me on Instagram. Butt Sports on Instagram. DM me on Instagram. I give away all of my picks for free. You can access them. They're super easy. Just DM me on Instagram. Butt Sports on Instagram. I'll hook you guys up so you can see every bet that I made every single day. Is the order by time or favorite bet? Neither, Jorge. It's just how I wrote it. It's just the ones that came up during the show. So don't take the order of it to mean anything beyond that. It has been so wonderful having you guys with us. I hope you guys have enjoyed every single second of it. For those who have been watching on YouTube, TikTok, Twitch, and Kick, it's just great knowing that there are so many of you guys that take time out of your day to watch our content. Just absolutely love being with you guys. Hope you guys love the content as well. Again, DM me on Instagram if you want every bet that I make every day for free. I'll hook you up with a link to the SHARPZ app. If you want a free 7-day trial to Outlier, DM me on Instagram. More than happy to hook you up with that as well. Can't wait to talk to you guys again tomorrow. I will be live at what time tomorrow? 12 p.m. You guys got it. 12 p.m. on the weekends, 5 p.m. on the weekdays. So I will see you Sunday at 12 p.m. Eastern. Until then, stay healthy, stay safe, and enjoy the sports action today. Goodbye, everybody. Have a good one.